We should be fine. We should be going good. Should be nice and loud. And we can start. Oh. Uh, let's try again. I'm in 2 different streams right now, and it might get difficult to concentrate. This is where we are. Chapter 4. Okay. Uh, this is actually really weird, even though they can't hear me. I mean, I could make them hear me. See if this works. Test. You can hear me? So now I'm on my own stream, which is Steins but doesn't have you, and I'm on your stream at the same time. This is insane. I didn't think that was possible. Okay, I'm gonna start reading Steins too. Yay! I recall what happened when I said to myself, the LOTO, six numbers, the Loto. The moment I sent that email, I felt a stronger tremor, and then the world, as I knew it, changed slightly. The fact that I had sent an email had been undone. I know that because it had disappeared from my send history. However, it was in my inbox. Mail had definitely reached the past. What does this mean? Mail was received but never sent. Isn't that a time paradox? Isn't that the reason why everyone loses their everyone else lost their memories? Why did that happen? The butterfly effect, that is not an answer. Changing the past, change the world. Sitter spoke of divergence. When divergence changed, are people's memories reconstructed to match the new world line? See, I don't think that it is definitely a divergence, but I don't think that that world was reconstructed. I think that world had already existed, and you're just tapping into it. And it's the world where you enter it's the world where you enter. Oh, I didn't realize I gotta fix it. Right to there. Yeah, that should have everything. You should go right there. Okay. All right. Yeah, I believe, and I believe this is true for Steins Gate, that that world, it's not being reconstructed, it's not being reinvented or created. It has already existed. It's being tapped into. Guillermo is tapping into it because of the change that he made. So he made the change and moved himself. The biggest difference is that his memories of the original world that he comes from, that is where I would say creates the paradox, or creates the maybe butterfly effect, but it's the more of the effect than the butterfly. And it could just be something simple with he's the one who initiated it, so he retains the memory of those worlds. It was Esky all the time. How come I remember the previous world line even after the past changed? That's the question. It's a male. Concentrated on my coffee. However, all these males, no doubt about it. It's Curio Mordecai, the male demon known as Shining Fingers. Shining Finger. How can she, so shy in real life, be so persistent in email? There's something wrong with that woman. Can I send a demon? you, right? Please. Wants to send an email. That reminds me, yesterday I made fellow member number 5. It means she's qualified to participate in our experiments. She might meet my demands. Most importantly, the other lab members are completely useless when it comes to emails. Still haven't been able to verify whether or not I can keep my memories if someone else changes the past. But wait. I'm worried. Okay. Works for an editorial company. In other words, she's related to the media. Of course, sooner or later, we're going to have to announce our findings to the world. I'd rather choose a national newspaper or TV network to cover the event rather than some shady magazine. That way it'll spread faster throughout Japan, nay the world. Yeah, I have some doubts. Come on, right? You know me too well. It's about whether or not to include shining finger into the phone wave, name subject change, experiments. I said, you want me to offer as a sacrifice? True, I am prepared to make sacrifices in order to bring chaos to the world, but no, there is no problem. I shouldn't have hesitated. Pathetic. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a mad scientist. Yeah, you might say her offer was a message, no doubt. This too is the choice of Steins else I kangaroo. I type a reply. Okay. Use your lab number. I hurry back to the lab. Staring at her phone like usual. That's a good idea. I guess I'll have member two. Daru and Chris don't object either. What sort of mail does Kirishi plan to send? My request is that the contents be simple and easy to measure so that we can confirm whether or not the past has changed. New mail. Sorry, there's one more thing. I want to keep my message secret. No, more importantly, secret. What do you mean? What's going on? Private. It would be embarrassing if anyone knew. Well, that's not the problem. Jersey peeks out. We're side, babe. I see. I understand how you feel, but since it's an experiment, data collection should take priority. Okay, we agree for one's assistance. Not agreeing with you exactly. If we don't collect data, then we'll never be able to measure how the phone wave works. Girls have a lot of secrets, you know. You shouldn't ask her to tell you your secrets, Okran. That's perverted. Oh, is that where we're going with this? Calm down, Daru. Turn to Mayuri and Moeka, who appear to have formed some kind of mainstream girl alliance. We're not asking you to send something private. Kirisu nods firmly at my words. Looks like she doesn't intend to join the mainstream girl alliance. Even if you want to send something private, you shouldn't for now. We still don't know how this thing handles paradoxes, so we need to be extremely careful. Nothing private. Nothing you want to keep secret, at least. Even if you mean well, the mail's content might have serious effect on the timeline. You should show your mail to a third party and have them check it if the content is problematic or not. Indeed. My assistant said everything I wanted to say. I will add only that the experiment must go on. I wasn't speaking for you, don't misunderstand. Cheeky little. Experiment prioritize data over privacy in the first place. If you're going to be a test subject, you need to prepare for that. I mean, that's the reason Kirisu won't send an email herself. That's it. So many zombies, so little time. Okay. Should probably bring that up just a little bit. Really, Mayushi wasn't prepared for that. I'm sorry, Christian. You don't have to apologize. I'm not criticizing you. It's just how these things work. I know some people might take issue with that statement, but I'll refrain from saying anything. I'd rather not get my head in chewed off right now. Because expression doesn't change. Same as always. I don't know what she's thinking. You're a lab member. You need to trust us. Save private information for another day. If you can't, then I'll be forced to show you what lies dormant inside the great Kiyomo. Terrible power of intensity. Moko was already typing on her phone. My threat was ineffectual, it seems. Can I see the emails you sent so far? I want to use them as a reference. I can show you my arrival history. And the send history? Don't have one. Send history disappears after you send the email. Confirm that after I sent the email yesterday. Moko was there, but she doesn't remember either. Don't need to sister. I'll show you the message before I send it. Is that okay? Looks like she understands. I show the mail to accuracy too. You don't have to if you don't want to, Mocha. That's supposed to be encouragement? Yuri sounds concerned for some reason. So what you gotta say, no, Occurring wants to change the past in an easy to measure way, but that's setting the bar way too high. Nonsense, you're all aiming too low. I have an idea. Mocha murmurs. Oh, this could be good. Give us the detail. Mocha then invokes her power once more. Ultra fast typing, power known as Shining Finger. 4 days ago I bought a new phone. And now that I've tried it, I think I should have stayed with my old one. So I want to use a D-mail to tell myself not to buy the new phone. If we do that, the phone I'm holding will change, won't it? Excellent shiny finger. You're a model lab then. Should make it easy to tell whether the past has changed. The 3 useless members have no objection to Mocha's superior idea. Look at Mocha's phone. It's purple and gaudy. There's no strap. And it's like a deco phone, popular among mainstream women nowadays. Well, that's the GG01. It just came out last month. GG01. Latest model. I'm pretty sure the screen is detachable. So you can swap out attachments for it. It's in short supply right now, so you need to be placed on a wait list. Nice job getting one. It's the most popular model, but she wants her old one back. As hardcore phone users have other concerns besides fashion. So, finger. Why do you call Mocha-san finger? That's the name of her Esper power. Dear Mocha, I doubt the shining finger. Use the name of pride. Mocha shakes her head expressionlessly. What? You don't like it? But it's such a cool name. What's the problem? Mocha-san is Mocha-san. Her fingers don't shine or anything. Don't feed the trolls, Mayushi. I'm not trolling, just naming her power. Cut the chatter and get started. Damn it. You're just an assistant. Don't boss us around. What if the manager says something? Don't be afraid of Mr. Brown. He storms in yelling. I'll kick him to the curb. Seriously, Ogren, you're so cool. That's why we love you. He's just talk. I'll be the adult and ignore Kirisu's insult. Aika has already written her 26-byte mail. Her 36-byte mail. Look at Mara. I see she's ready. She nods. You set the timer to 100 seconds. The email should arrive. America's phone 4 days ago, July 31st. He deactivates. About 15 seconds after activating, the discharge phenomenon occurs. Glance at Mocha. She nods grimly as usual, showing emotion, and she presses the button. World twist in unrecognizable shapes. Floor is shaking. Or is it me? Vision blur and loses color. World lurches and I struggle to keep my balance. As I brace myself against further shaking, I try to analyze what I'm experiencing. It's far more tense than what happened when we sent the email yesterday. Yet I feel it before. I remember. This is what I felt right before mass disappearance phenomena. Shaking stops. Relax my body and look around. Has past changed? Of course it has. This bizarre sensation just now was proof. Around the room. Phone wave name subject change, which should have had about 90 seconds left on the timer, is silent. Diary's here, Mary's here, Kirisu's here. Where's Mocha? Her shining finger, where'd she go? We're discussing something in front of the X68,000. Look at me strangely. Again? This feeling of wrongness. Same as yesterday. Shining what? Poker in Japanese, please. Redevelopment room. Check the lounge. Behind the sofa. In the dressing room. Bathroom. Shower room. And I look out the window in the street below. But Mocha is nowhere to be found. She's gone. No way. Exactly what happened on the street of Akabara. Why did she disappear? Because I experimented on her? Where did she go? Did I erase her from history? Did I banish her into space in between dimensions? Start quivering in horror at the magnitude of my error. In a daze, I step up to Mayuri, who's eating a banana. Grab her shoulders and shake. Where's Kiryu Mocha? She was just here. She was here just now, wasn't she? Oh, what? Who? Kiryu Mocha? Dardo and Karasu give me a strange looks as well. Who's that? Never heard of her. No way. So I did erase her existence. No, it can't be. I won't accept that I killed her.
まさかまた
Did you have again,
ま
Okabe?
たってどういう意味だ
What do you
昨日
mean
も似た
again?
ようなことがあった私たちの記憶にないことを
Something like this happened yesterday. You remember something, didn't? We
なんだっけ
didn't. What did you call it?
そうそうリーディングしたいな
Oh yeah, reading Steiner. Yeah, name I gave the phenomenon, rather the ability to perceive it. I'm gonna take a quick break. Be right back. Make myself some tea.
Alright, making a little lunch. Lower line changes, everyone's memories are reconstructed to match, and that's what John Tudor said. Somehow I alone retain my memories even after the past changes. You named that power reading Steiner. Kurisu remembered. And she remembered when the other you said it. And I'm trying to figure out whether, because you can't be dividing into. Would the timelines be merged? And what would be lost is the original. To tell you the truth, I just made it up out of thin air. It's only their memories among that disappeared, not. Okay, so. all I can do is wait for her reply. Shouldn't take long at all. In fact, I'm anything but fine. I'm fighting desperately to deny the possibility I might have erased Mogia from existence.
収集今の実験のことどの辺まで覚えている
Sister, how much do you remember about the experiment we just did?
今実験をしたことさえ覚えてない。たった今あんたは D メールを送ったのに。
ああただし昨日とは少し状況が違う D メールを送ったのは俺ではなく桐生萌香だ
Sure, when I realized I can't find any problem with that hypothesis. No way. Can't be. You know, all her email said was don't change your phone model. And that's harmless, right?
Christine もし仮に
So it
D メールによってタイムパラドックスが発生した
caused a time paradox. What would happen?
タイムパラドックスを経験した人間は未だかつて一人もいないから。
以前世界が消えるというようなことを言っていなかった。
Ooh. Or didn't you say something like the world would disappear?
あくまでそういう説もあるって言っただけ。
So that was one theory.
もしかしたら何も起きないかもしれないし、某映画みたいにパラドックスに対する歴史の修正が入るかもしれない。
And like a certain history gets amended to accommodate the paradox.
ドクター・ホーキングは時間順序保護仮説でタイムパラドックスが起きる可能性の行為はそもそも実行不可能だとしてるし、
According to Dr. Stephen Hawking. Which I agree. I guess she doesn't really understand.
今もマユシーやオカリンたちがちゃんとこうしておしゃべりできてるっていうことはね、きっと萌香さんっていう人もね、マユシーは知らないけどきっと大丈夫。
That's Miyushi for you. Cute dumb girl.
マユシーはアホの子じゃないよ。
Might have erased somebody's very existence. In fact, if Mario had vanished, then it means that the phone wave named subject is also responsible for the mass disappearance phenomena, which is an Akibara. I'm just going to say, it's not murder or death or anything like that. It is a different timeline. In timelines where they're alive, they're still alive. The timeline exists, even if you don't anymore. Something wrong. It still exists. She didn't disappear. Maybe washed away my fear. I just feel it too, not because I was worried about my, because I might be responsible for the horror of erasing somebody from existence.
何が起きたか説明して。
Then what's happened? I try to explain everything that just happened. Hmm?
今
Honestly, I'm not surprised she disappeared from the lab.
桐生なんとかさんが消え。
どういうこと？
What do you mean?
詳しい経緯はわからないけど、
I don't know the details, but when the past changed,
今回の場合は
Actions
7月31日
the past 4 days changed ever so slightly.
その結果、今
The
この
results
時間には桐生さんは
Very so that
来な
one,
か
yeah,
ったと
didn't come to the lab today.
再構成された。
So that's why she teleported. I'm reminded of teleporting Jemana, because it's not the same thing. Like I didn't become a jelly man after all. Is that even possible?
なんとも言えない。D メールを送った事実も抹消されてしまうなら、その D メールは誰が送ったのかっていう
The fact that the D mail was
パラドックスにな
sent
るし
is undone, and it becomes a paradox with who sent that D mail.
それともう一つ、岡部に起きている
There's
こと
one
が
other
許
thing
せない。
I don't understand.
リーディングシュタイナーのこと。
What you call reading Steiner?
ちなみにその造語、恥ずかしいからやめた方がいい。
By the way, you should quit it with that name. It's stupid.
お前の個人
I
的見
didn't
解が
ask for
必
your
要な
opinion. I'm finally able to joke with Karasu again. Well, maybe she wasn't joking. But that's none of her
さっ
business.
きのあんたの説明じゃ D メールを送ったのも受け取ったのもあんたじゃなかった。なのにあんただけが世界線が変わる前のことを覚えている。
Before the world line changed.
でもこれってあんたのただの妄想じゃない？
What if it's all in your head? Like an imaginary girlfriend? I get it.
わかるの？お前のような変態紳士と一緒にされたくはない。
No, you don't. I'm not a gentleman for creating imaginary relationships.
桐生さんって人はもともと存在しなかった。あるいは桐生なんとかさんは実在するけど、
Maybe this curious
そ
son
の人
never
が D
existed.
メールを送っ
Maybe
た事実は
curious son does exist. The fact that she sent an email with something you made. Go on. Yeah. Follow my knees and press my hand against my left eye. My left eye, reading sign, it aches.
おかりん
Okurin, are you okay? He blinks anxiously at my face, but I lightly push her aside.
ダメだマユリ
Namiri, stay away. I don't want to hurt you.
今の
でもおかりんすごく苦しそうだよ
Okurin, you look like you're in pain. He's messing with us, right?
そうよね
大丈夫だ
I'm okay. This aching is normal, but it'll end soon.
この魔眼がある限り俺は機関に狙われ続けるあらゆる世界と時間とを見通す力しかしそれは同時にモロハの剣でもある俺はこのあらゆる世界とあらゆる時間を見通す魔眼のせいで人間としての因果律から外れてしまっただがそれでもこのラボだけは守ると誓ったのだだから
Reading center.
魔眼よ
Your time has come, but
静
not
ま
yet.
ってくれ
And you don't press my head against the floor. Take a deep breath. Read my hand from my left eye. Here he rubs my back.
おかりん
Oh, Grin, does it hurt? No, I'm okay now.
大丈夫
I stand up and shoot her to a sharp glare.
何よ今のただの演技でしょ
What? That was just an act, right?
だクリスティ
You
ナ
are wrong, Christina.
すでにこれまでの実験で証明されているん
Experiments
だ
have
よ
proven
俺のリーディングシュタイナーは
that my reading Steiner is genuine.
はいはい12秒12秒
I'm gonna get it. You're a Chinubi. Chinubiu? Chinubio? Kyle? Chinubi. I never heard him. You know what? We're gonna find out. Okay. Did I crash? Seems to still be going. Okay, still seem to be up. Just realized that I might get Chunibyo. 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 Okay. Chunibyo. It definitely does not look like Chunibyo. This is one of the main reasons why I haven't sang the Your Name song, which I sing all the time, but I am probably singing the words completely and totally wrong. Like, that is Chunibyo. And to me it looks like Chu Uni Bayu. Chu Uni Bayu. Chunibyo. Yeah. Chunibyo. Okay. Take the headphones off again. Yeah? Chunibyo. I know, that's like a person who lives in their imaginary world. Usually children. Ah.
なんで私に注
What are
目
you
してんの
saying?
よ。
Don't look at me.
見るの禁止。
Ah. In any case, I've successfully deflected Lucy's question about reading Steiner. I don't feel able to answer right now. My emotions are jumbled, just as they were after Titter called me the Messiah. Is this power real? If it is, then what does that make me? An unknown power sleeps within me. I don't know if it sleeps within you, but you definitely are affected by it. I definitely think it has to do with the satellite crash on the tower, which marked the first change where you shifted from one world to another. Thoughts and chills down my spine. Sit on the bench in front of Braun's workshop, staring at the night sky. Try sorting out what happened this afternoon, but it's impossible. The more I think about it, the more confused I get. Then I hear footsteps coming down from the second floor. Soon Mayuri and Kirisu emerge.
帰るのか
Going home? Yep.
岡部って ずっとここに泊まり込んでるの？
Do you always stay the night here?
マッドサイエンティストたるも研究所に寝泊まりして研究だけに没頭するぐらいで
Pretty much, I wouldn't be a true mad scientist if I couldn't stay overnight at my lab, immersed in research.
形から入るのって良くないと思うわけだが。
I think you're putting too much emphasis on the appearances.
でもね、この場所ってとっても便利だよね。マユシーもお父さんお母さんが許してくれるならここに泊まりたいよ。
Hey, you know, this place is really convenient. Mayushi would stay over if Mom and Dad would let me.
本気？
You would?
そしたらバイトに行くのもすぐだもん。ねえねえクリスちゃん。
And it's so close to work too. Hey, Christian, why don't we all stay over sometime?
男性陣がいないのなら OK。
Sure, if the guys aren't around.
それは無理
That won't happen.
だったらまゆりさん、私のホテルに来たら？
And why don't you come to my hotel, May-san?
ああ、そういえばそんな約束してたもんね。じゃあ今度
Oh yeah, we did make that promise, huh? And let's do that the next time.
いつでも言ってくれていいから。それじゃあ。
You can come over whenever you like. See you tomorrow. Here's waves goodbye and starts walking the opposite direction from the Akabara station. Does not move from the spot. Instead, she starts doing her usual thing. Stardust handshake. She looks up at the night sky, raises her hand as if to grasp the stars. With perfect timing, a shooting star crosses the sky.
ねえ、オカリ
Hey, Okarin.
ああ流れ星
Yeah, a shooting star. Did you make a wish?
願い事はしたか
Yuri doesn't answer. Yuri doesn't answer. She keeps gazing at the sky.
オカリンって小学生の頃すごい熱を出して1ヶ月ぐらい寝込んでたことがあったよね。
Remember back in elementary school, you got a terrible fever. Stayed in bed for a month.
何を突然言い出すんだ
Why you bring this up? It was about 10 years ago, at the turn of the century, when the world was in an uproar over Y2K. Near the end of 1999, I had a fever of a nearly 40 degrees Celsius that lasted about a month. I didn't recover until the new year. At least that's what I've been told. I don't remember it myself. According to my parents, I was unconscious the whole time, tossing and turning. Doctor said it was a miracle I didn't die. Because of that fever, I didn't get to experience the Millennium Countdown event. They never figured out what caused it either.
あの時ね、マユシーはオカリンが死んじゃうんじゃないかって思ってすごく怖かったんだよ。
I was so afraid that Okarin might die.
だからね、おばあちゃんと一緒にお空に祈ってたの。オカリン死なないで。
So Granny and I prayed to the sky together. Don't die, Okarin.
この俺が死ぬはずがないだろう何しろ10年前の時点で俺はトーマス・エジソンに匹敵する IQ170 の頭脳を持つ
Something like that could never kill me. 10 years ago, I was already a mad scientist with an IQ of 170, equal that of Thomas Edison. Actually, I'm not sure what Thomas Edison's IQ was.
そうだったんだ。オカリンってすごいんだね。
Really? That's amazing.
でもね、まだちっちゃかったマユシーはそのことがわからなかったからお空に祈ってて、
But Mayushi was still really small and didn't know that, so I prayed to the
で
sky.
ね、大晦日もうすぐ年が明けるっていう時にね、流れ星がピューって流
Then
れ
on
た
New
の。
Year's Eve, right before midnight, a shooting star went pew across the sky, just like now.
流れ星はね、消える前に3回願い事を唱えることができ
If
た
you
ら、
repeat your
願い
wish
が
3
叶う
times
んだ
before the
よ。
shooting star
知
disappears,
ってたか
your
な？
wish will come true. Did you know that? Of course, that's the most common of common knowledge.
もちろんマユシーは一生懸命3回唱えたの。
It was hard, but Mayushi repeated her wish 3 times. Then Mayuri finally lowers her hand and turns to me. On her face, a soft
次の
smile.
日、年が明けた頃にね、
The next
お
day,
か
on
り
New
の
Year's,
熱が下がって
fever went down and you woke up.
つまりマユシーはオカリの命の恩人
So
なんだよ。
basically, Mayushi saved your life.
いや違うな。あの状況で助かったのはシュタ
No,
イ
it
ンズ
was
ゲ
a
ート
simple choice of Steins Gate.
そうなの？
Really?
そうなの。
Really? Oh. Yuri looks a little disappointed.
ねえねえ、熱が下がった時ね、オカリンはこんなことを言ってたんだけど、覚えてる？
Hey, remember what you said when your fever went
急に
down?
見ているものがぐにゃぐにゃしてきて、立っていられなくてフラフラして、で、体がビクってな
You
って
said everything went blurry and twisty like, and the ground shook so bad you couldn't stand, remember?
さっきのオカリンもね、そんな感じだったよ。
Writing kind of like you just now.
大丈夫？また熱出して倒れたりしない？
Are you okay? You're not coming down with a fever, are you? Looks like she's worried about my reaction to Yonka's disappearance. Geez, my hostage is worrying about me. I found myself giving her a weary smile.
ゼルナ。何も心配ない。
Fine, don't worry about a thing. As I brush her worry off with a shrug, I think back to what had happened 10 years ago. When I woke up from that fever, the first thing I saw was Mayuri's crying face. She's right. I vaguely remember describing my collapse that way. Come to think of it, it does seem to match with the sensation I felt a few hours ago when reading Steiner activated. See, so his power was already mine back then. Such choice of Steins Gate. Really was born with this power. No wonder John Titor thinks I'm a messiah. My maniacal laughter echoes into the night. It is the 5th. Next day the lab gets an unusual guest.
お邪魔します。
Pardon the intrusion. Represent Lukashi.
こんにちは、橋田さん。岡部さん。
Hello there, Hashina Okabe-san.
ルカ子。予 とさみだれを持ってこないと何事だ。
You don't remember having the demon. You don't have the demon sword similar with you. What is the meaning of this?
今日お前が来ると聞いて、俺は殿下の宝刀ミストルティンの封印を解いたというの
You
に、
unsealed the treasure heirloom sword.
お前には失望したぞ。
Miss Stilton. And I heard you were coming to today. I'm disappointed in you. Actually, I didn't know he was coming.
すみません。
So sorry. I'll go
今
back
から
and
一
get
人
it.
に戻りますから
いいや、もういいんだ。さみだれとミストルティンの
No, that's not okay. It's not.
お預けか。
No, that's okay. It was not Miss Stilton's fate to encounter Simidar's this day. I look out the window with an expression of melancholy. A Japanese sword and a cursed sword from Norse mythology are mismatched. It's not even funny. Do we even have a sword here? What should I?
ルカ子よ。お前は
Even
俺
though
の弟
you're
子
my
である。
disciple, you still lack dedication.
すみません
I'm
こんな
sorry.
調子では
This
使い
rate,
物にな
it
るま
will
で
be some time
まだま
before
だ
you
時
can
間
be
がかかる
useful.
どうだ。なんだって
By the way,
我がラボ
why
に
not
入って
join our lab? Yeah,
僕
me?
がですか
Luko looks at me blankly.
でも僕どんくさいですし
But I'm clumsy and I'm not very good at science or engineering. Probably just get in
そ
your
れ
way.
でもいいですか
Do you really want me?
なんだ、前入れと変わらないではないか。
Don't sweat it. Mayuri's the same.
ルカ君ならね大歓迎だよ
We'd love to have you, Luko.
でもねルカ君をラボメンにするならマユシーはオカリンに一つ条件があるのですルカ君をいじめ
You know,
ないことっ
if
ていう条件
Lukun's going to be a lab member, then Mayushi has one condition for Okurin. Don't tease Lukukun. Mayuri forces a way between us as if to protect Lukukun. She's the one who called Lukuko here. They're classmates.
それとルカ君はね
Today, Lukukun is Mayushi's guest.
衣装合わせに来たんだから邪魔しちゃダメなので
Came for a fitting session, so don't get in our way.
まゆりちゃんでも僕コスプレはするつもりはないから本当に
So
衣装合わせ
Mayuri-chan, I don't really want to cosplay. Can it really just be a fitting session?
サイズが合ってるかどうかの確認だけだよ
Yep, we're just making sure that the size matches. Looks like Mayuri forced him to come. As far as she's concerned, pretty boys exist only to make her cosplay fantasies come true. Ta-da! Shows off the costume she made.
ライネットのキラリちゃん
Costume of Kara-chan from Rhinet. Is it just my imagination, or is this outfit pretty skimpy? I don't know if it's the first time seeing it, but the girl just stares at it, at the costume, dumbfounded.
とりあえず完成度は 70% ってところなんだけどね今この場でルカ君に試着してほしいんだ
Anyway, I say it's about 70% complete. But I want Luca to try it on now.
ここで着るの？
Try it on here. Luca glances at me and Daru and looks down to hide a blush.
無理だよ。
I can't.
お願い。
Please. Here's where Luca goes master, ought to help
我が
out.
弟子衣装というのは己を変革するためにも重要な要素の一つだ。それを着ることで
This is my people. To change your clothes is to change your very being. This costume might help you grow
そ
stronger.
れを通して見るが
Put
い
it
い。
on at once.
岡部さんまでそんなことを。僕こんな恥ずかしい格好できません。
You're on her side? I just can't wear something so embarrassing.
そこで恥ずかしがるからダメだと言うのだ。
It's only embarrassing because you think it is.
そうだよ。きっとね、とっても可愛くなるよ。
That's right. I'm sure you'd be really cute.
それにマユリはお前に来てもらうために一生懸命そのこそを作っているのだぞ。
Besides, Mayuri worked very hard on this costume so that you could wear it.
眠る時間も大好物のバナナを胃袋に入れる時間もジューシー唐揚げナンバーワンをチンする時間も削ってひたすらチクチクチクチク針と糸を動か
She
し
sacrificed her sleeping time, her favorite banana nourishment time, and her juicy chicken #1 time just so that she can sew and sew and sew.
その努力には報いるべきだ。
Can't let effort like this go to waste.
そうですけど。
That's true, but the good-natured Lokuko is already bending to the power of my words. Come on, Lagoon. Transform, transform.
ちょっと待って。
Yeah, wait a second. Wow. There he grabs Zuko's arm and drags him into the changing room. Okay, don't be shy. Take off your clothes. Mary John, please don't touch me there. I'll change it by myself. Please wait outside. It's a little tricky putting this on. Maybe she will teach you all the steps. Please don't undress me. It's so Yuri.
違うな。あれはユリでは。
It's not Yuri. Lukuko is the guy. And it's reverse rape, and that's downright criminal. His imagination knows no bounds. A few minutes pass, and out comes Mayuri first. She looks satisfied.
ルカくん、ほら、恥ずかしがらずに出てきてよ。
Come on, Lukun. Don't be shy. Lukun doesn't make his appearance, even when Mia calls
ル
him.
カくん、
Lukakun. Finally, so Lukaku comes out of the dressing room.
go, well, looks as if he's about to cry. You can already see the tears. The tremble as he reluctantly accepts the cushion. He really does not know what to do with it.
たいけで気弱そうな女の子をお
You're
もち
the
ゃにして
worst
調子に乗っ
one.
て
You're
るなん
such
て
a weak and innocent
最
girl.
低だわ。
make anyone who saw him either want to hug him real tight or smack him upside the head. It's that damn powerful. Well, I tell you, promise not to laugh.
恥ずべきことは何もない。堂々と宣誓するのだ。
There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Just proclaim it to the world.
そりゃ世界を混沌に
Yeah,
言う
no
た
wishing
と
is
か言ってるバカに
fair
比べれ
to
ばどんな願い事も恥
idiotically
ずか
for
しくはないわ
chaos to
な。
envelop the world or whatever.
そこの助手。人の望みを笑うとは あたふたしているな、クリスティン。自分よりずっと女の子らしい男がいたことがそれほどショックか。
Hi, Christina. Is it such a shock to meet a man far more feminine than you?
認めるわ。私は
I mean it fair to her. I mean to him.
彼に比べれば
I'm
乱
not
暴な
as
言
cute.
葉遣いだし、態度も悪いし、
Talk
可
more
愛げも
rudely
ない。
and my attitude is
これっ
worse.
てショックで3日は寝込むレベルよ。
This is a 3. Let's forget it. You're a stubborn fool who refuses to face the truth. So it's just a win. Hey, it's a raid! Holy cow! Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And I was one of them. Yay! Yay, yay! It's a raid! Let's get back. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the raid. It's awesome to have it. Bye bye. Whenever later is. I can probably leave. I'm gonna leave your chat. I missed the call. How did I miss the call? Hey. Oh, accident. This is what happens when you're in two Discord streams at the same time. Yippee! I think I'm considered a raider for my own stream. Yep, it ain't coming up. Not this time. Yay! So many people. We are playing Steins, and we're at the point, I don't know if you know the anime at all or have seen the anime, but we're at the point where Luca is making the wish to become a girl, and they're going to try to make that happen. Luca, how serious are you about that wish of yours? He's truly desperate, and having a sex change operation is probably the best way to go. Judging by his current looks, Luca could become a star of Tokyo's LGBT community. No, screw that. He could even become a TV personality. You know those stories where the guy magically turns into a girl overnight? Sometimes I wish that could happen to me. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Luca. That's stupid, isn't it? Stop it with those puppy dog eyes. Is that you of a certain popular commercial? Look, you are so cute. So kawaii. Looks like Karasu's been struck by Luca's cuteness too. The semi costume he's wearing isn't helping. be like dunking your vein into a vat of pure moe. Then you die. Scary part is that afterwards you feel the irresistible urge to grant other girls every wish. Luke Ako. Luke Ako. Luke Ako. I'm gonna say it right one of these days. As Luke Ako said, it's gonna be hard to find a nice, clean solution to this problem. Then Karazu clears her throat.
そういえば聞いたことがあるんだけど
That reminds me of something I heard once. Exposition scene
お
go.
肉をたくさん食べれば男の子を野菜をたくさん食べれば女の子を産むことができるっていう俗説があるらしい
There's a saying that if you eat a lot of meat when you're pregnant, you'll have a boy. If you eat a lot of vegetables, you'll have a girl. Source? Mimimi Sabo.
インターネットで見た
I saw it on the internet. So that's how you reply. Well played.
何のこと
What are you talking about? Anyway, it sounds like an old wives' tale. It is. Plop, 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 plop. But what about primitive people who lived on hunting? If that theory is true, then they would have too many boys and not enough girls. Humanity would never have made it this far.
別にそれが正しいって言ってるわけじゃない
I never said it was true.
なんとなく思い出しただけよいちいち噛みつかないで
Just remember hearing it. Don't snap at every little thing.
俺は噛みついてなどいないクリスティーナ
Didn't snap, Christine.
検証してみる気はないか
Feels like verifying that theory.
どういうこと
What are you implying?
思い出せ俺たちの手には
Have you forgotten? We have the phone wave name subject to change.
電話レンズチーってしたら
Phone wave chime can tell if you have a boy or a girl? No way in hell.
Wait, of course. Looks like Kirisu's got it. They don't call her a genius for
西
nothing.
村さんのお母さんが妊娠
You
中
can
の
send
時
an
期
email
に D メ
to
ールを送るのね。
Yoshibara's mother when she was pregnant.
いいかに野
Need
菜を
something like eat more vegetables.
という内容でな。
Luca doesn't know what the emails are, and Mary, who is just a little dumb, tilts her head in confusion at the
や
same
って
time.
みる価値はあると思わないか
You think it's worth a shot?
今
Well,
更偽善で取り繕おうとするなよクリスティーナ。俺は知っているぞ。
it's too late to hide behind your goody two-shoes mask, Christina. Your fate is to become a mad scientist, for you are an experiment-loving girl.
誰が実験大好きっ子だ。
Who are you calling an experiment-loving girl?
違うのか
Am I wrong?
違わないけれど。
No, but that settles it. Hold on, man. What are you going to do if the experiment works?
どうする
What do you mean? I mean, if Lukashi's sex seriously
とな
changes.
俺がルカ子の望みだろ
That's what he wants, isn't it? Well, yeah, but... If his sex does change, won't the 16 years of his life change too? That's what I mean. Who's going to take responsibility for that? That's... I'll take responsibility. Luco raises his hand timidly. Seriously?
よくわからないんですけど、その方法を使えば
Well, I don't really understand, but if we use this method, I might become a girl, right? Then I want to try.
お願いします。師匠、
Please, Master. Bows his head to me.
お前の意見
Hey, Yuri, your opinion?
女の子になっちゃったらね、今度から
Luca-kun
ルカちゃん
becomes a
って呼
girl,
ばないとダメだね。
and we gotta call her Luca-chan.
ルカちゃんはマユシーのパス着てくれる？
Will Luca-chan wear Mayushi's costumes?
それとこれとは話が
Oh, well, that's another story. At any rate, it doesn't look like Mayuri has any objections.
ならばルカ子よ。
And that settles it. Luca-kun, I appoint you lab member 006.
レオ
Eh?
レンジカッコ仮は我がラボの最重要機密事項だ。
The only name subject to change is our lab's most important secret. In order to use it, you must become a lab member. Oh, okay.
このラボのメンバーに
Actually, I always wanted to be a lab
な
member.
りたいって思っそうだったの？言ってくれればよかったのに。
Really? You should have said so.
言い出す勇気がない。それに僕、さっきも言ったんです。
Didn't have the courage. Like I said, I don't know a thing about gadgets.
そんなこと気にしなくていいんだよ。だってね、マユシ
You don't have to worry about those things. I mean, Mayuri doesn't get them either. It's not something to be proud of, Mayuri.
では、ルカ子は今この時よりラボメンとなる。
So Luco shall lab member from this point before. Any objections?
はーい。
Here. Kirisu raises her hand.
私、ラボメンナンバー004を返上したいので、代わりに漆原さんを004にしてあげて。
I want to give Urshibara my number so I can retire.
却下だ。他には
Denied. Anything else?
はあ
Huh. And I ask, what happened to 005? But I ignore them. Okay, will always be 005 in my heart. No objections, Merv. All members are in favor. Very well. Lukugo is officially lab member 006. Henceforth, pledge your allegiance to the lab and devote all your strength to the enrichments of our science.
とっても嬉しいです
Yes, I will. I'm so happy.
そう
I said that so badly.
早速実験を
Now then, let the experiment immediate. Wait. Suddenly realize something makes me smack my forehead in dismay.
始まった。ルカ子は今16歳だったな。
Damn, Lukuko, you're 16, right? Right.
つまり1993年生まれ。
So you were born in 1993,
そうだよマユシーと同い年
yep, the same year as Mayushi.
それが
What
どうした
about
の
it? In order, we need to send a email to 10 months before Lukuko was born, meaning we have to send it to 1992.
携帯が日本で普及し始めたのはいつだ。
When did cell phones become widespread in Japan? Ah. Looks like Kirisu and Dara figured it out. Dara goes to Google it. Around 1996. There wasn't mail until later, though.
つまりルカ子の生まれた年の時点では携帯は一般化されてないということ。
So the year Lukuko was born, most people still didn't have cell phones.
ルカ子の母親も持っていない可能性がある。もし
Even may not have had
メー
one.
ルを受け取っても
In
らう
that
手段
case,
が
she
存在し
may
ないでは
not
ない
be
か。
able to receive the email. Ah, I get it. Yeah, we can't do it. Lukuko's face darkens. I fold my arms in thought. Some way to receive the mail in an era where cell phones weren't yet widespread. What about modifying it to send the crazy waves or something?
何よ毒電波って
What the hell are crazy waves? Waves that only one crazy girl can pick up. You know, the girl who's always talking about something I don't understand. It's pretty moe.
毒されてるのはあんたの脳みそだろ
I'll microwave your brain if you don't shut up. Yes, abuse me more, please.
だったら手紙をタイムカプセルに入れて埋めるっていう
Couldn't you put a letter in a time capsule and bury it?
それじゃあ過去じゃなくて未来に行っちゃうわ
That would go to the future, not to the past. Oh. I know. How about the thing where you get struck by lightning and that turns you into a girl? Like the old comic books or an anime.
D メールを使わなきゃ実験の意味ないでしょ脱線しないで
There's no point to the experiment if we don't use the email. Don't lose sight of the objective.
じゃあクリスチャンのナイスアイデアにマヨシ
I'm counting on you for a nice ID, Christian.
私
Hey,
私は
hi.
そうね高速を自乗倍ほど上回るロケットを開発すればあまりの速さに時間が逆行してとか
Build a rocket which exceeds the speed of light squared, and then that immense speed will reverse the flow of time or something. You're getting about the phone wave too.
しかもこの天才少女も今自ら相対性理論を否定したぞ
Further changes grow. He's contradicted relativity.
単なる冗談でしょ本気に
This
しない
show. Take it seriously.
どいつもこいつも
This
使え
is
ないな
why this lab is a disgrace.
だったら自称 IQ170 の灰色の脳細胞狂気のマッドサイエンティスト大井さん代案をどうぞ
Casey's awesome. Fine then. Let's hear what Hayonin Kayoma, the insane mad scientist with an IQ over 170 whose brain cells are converted into the world over. What's your genius plan?
頭の片隅で
Inspiration flashes in the corner of my brain. That Edison thing again. This sensation, yes. My natural mad scientist inspiration is about to explode.
思いついた
I have it. All eyes focused on me. With a broad grin, I
携
proclaim,
帯がなければポケベルに送ればいいじゃない
we can't send it to the cell phone, then we send it to a pager. About 22 hours have passed since I made the mind-blowingly awesome proclamation. Hello. We got into the lab shyly, just as he did yesterday. Gives me a bashful smile, and our eyes meet. Mom had a pager.
あーよかったね
Yeah, that's great. Look
これで
again.
前に進めるわね
Now we can proceed with the experiment. Liquor girl vision will definitely be Moe. Yuri, Kirstu, Daru are already on standby. Sending a email to a pager. Yesterday we argued about whether it was even possible. Eventually we settled on probably. Data is data after all. The rest depends on the pager radio. I just realized I did it again. Is that? Is that? Let's do that. You already Googled how to send data to a pager. The pagers back then. First enter another person's pager number, and then if in the Kanto region enter *2 *2. After that you would enter the number to send, and that's how it worked apparently. Pagers in 1992 could still send only numbers. No. Well, BlackBerry The Blackberries had full range, but it could only send a short thing. Phone numbers displayed. Functions are also yet to be implemented. So your number was hidden from another person by default. A few years after pagers started to implement Japanese characters displayed, enabling therefore the email that I was about to send is technically not a mail, though it has to be sent in numerical form. Naturally, I have a conversion table for that on hand. Providing information even from 18 years ago if you Google it. I was very worried by the lack of information on pages at first, but that's my little secret.
漆原さん、あとは過去のお母さんに向けての文章をあなた自身で考えて。
Yoshibara-san, you need to think about what to send to your mother in the past.
僕がですか？
Yeah, I do.
自分の夢を叶えたいなら自分自身で道を切り開く。
You want to grant your wish.
その強払い程度のことだけだ。
Let's open the door with your own hands, and we can only show you the way. I understand. We explained to the girl the function of the phone wave, name subject to change. The numbers we are sending are 1-bit characters, so we can send 36 of them. Pager numbers to letter conversion system uses 2 numbers to correspond to 1 Japanese character. So you have half. Furthermore, you need to input *2, *2. That means you can only send 16 Hiragan characters. He understands everything, takes out a notebook and begins writing drafts for the pager message. So you're looking at the site I found. It reads pager numbers and letter conversions. Pager icons are commonly known as 2-touch typing or pager input. 2-touch typing I've actually heard of. Somewhat different from cell phone input. You choose the constant and the input vowel. Constants are A, K, S, T, N, H, M, Y, R, W. Vowels are A, I, U, E, O. Sign of increasing report. Oh no, he escaped. If we don't find him and kill him, Sergeant will fall upon Akabara. His name is Ian. Churikawa. Small and nimble. He cries, choo choo. Hey, coming back. Need your help. Yeah. Press 2, input constant, K. Press 4 for the vowel, E. This is a pain. Let's just send A31, A31, A31. That should do it.
どうして83
Why A31? Veggie, veggie, veggie.
Try to drill us into Lucas James' town.
そんなメッセージでいたずら扱いされるだけだ。
Should just pass that message off as a prank.
だったら
Okay. 29292929.
一応聞いてやるがどういう意味
And what does that mean?
肉
Eat for meat. Meat, 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 meat.
肉好きにさせてどうする
Why do you want to like meat?
違うよそ
What
れだ
if you repeat it? Meat. Should actually start to hate meat. Want to eat vegetables instead, don't you think? Yeah, no. Luko completes his composition while we speak our nonsense. I was actually going to end this sooner, but I want to get through this part of it. This is actually awesome. I love how they plan everything out, how they go through it. Mom, eat veggies, okay. Isn't that a little too vague?
冒頭の母さんは不要だ。
And the first mom
余計
should
な疑
go.
念を抱かせるだけだ。
That just makes it harder to believe.
野菜をたくさん食べると女の子
You can eat lots of veggies to give birth to a girl.
ひねりすぎるのもね。
It's a little too
それ
dark.
に文字数
No
オ
way
ーバーした
character
の
limit.
よ。
野菜食べると元気な
Eat veggies for a healthy kid. Wait a second. According to our conversation chart, it looks like you gotta use 2 more numbers for voiced constant. So that sentence is 4 bytes over.
ならば少し改変だ。
Little
野菜
modification.
食うと元気な子を埋めるでどうだ
How about eat veg for healthy kid?
言い方が下品じゃない相
Isn't
手
it a
は
little
漆
too
原さんの
informal?
お母さんでしょ食うと
Come
の
to
部
Ursula
分
versus Son's mother.
通じるかな
Yeah. She understand veg 4 part?
ならば代案を出してもらおうか。
You have any bright ideas? Shrugs his shoulders, says no more. Then it's settled.
じゃあ早速
Come on, let's tape it out. Sending to a pager, the number encodes the message, handling it like telephone number, so we enter the input into the X68000. $68,000. So you gotta do the star two. And a lot of numbers. Long random looking string of numbers is complete.
よし。準備万端 OK だ。
Alright, we're good to go. We just activate the own wave, name subject to change, and we have Lukuko Skull. I think in the anime, they skipped all of this and they had them sending a voice message. Timers sent to 154,152 seconds. It should arrive on January 1st, 1993. Margin error is like 1 to 3 days. I guess. Leap year calculations pain, so I ignore it. The slender figure starts to tremble on top of the enter button.
起動するぞ。
Ready? I'm starting it up. Choosing nods faintly. $100,000 seconds. That's like gonna be like a day or so.
The discharge phenomenon soon occurs. Luko flinches and takes a step back. Then I see determination flare in his eyes. He sets his jaw and pushes the enter button. Yeah, we are definitely switching to a completely different world. So much would have changed just from that one thing from 1993. I mean, he might not even have this lab. I mean, this Akibara might be a completely different place by the time he gets through with it, just from that one change in 1993. Wave of dizziness hits me. I place a hand on the table to support myself. The dizziness slowly fades. Little by little, the color returns to the world. Yeah. Reading Steiner activated again. Did the world line change? Look around the room. Unlike what happened with Mocha, Luko is still here. Blushes when he notices my stare. Okabe-san, could you please not look at me like that? I fold my arms and tilt my head. Luko's appearance hasn't changed a bit. I'm paying particular attention to his chest, and his chest, and his chest. As a guy, it's natural for him to have no breast. If he's a girl now, that's a different story. Not watch for isn't tiny breast level, it's no breast level. It didn't work. So they eat lots of vegetables to give birth to a girl thing Kurisu talked about was nothing but fringe science. It is still, it's not even science, it's just, but something major changed. What kind of scientist believes in such flimsy theories anyway? What didn't work? Everyone, including Luko, look at me in confusion. Don't you remember? Just now, we used the phone wave, name subject to change to. Snapped my hand over my mouth as soon as I started talking. That was careless of me. As our previous experiments prove, the activation of reading Steiner means the world line has changed. And I'm the only one who carries the memories through that change. No one else here knows what I did. Sorry, it's nothing. Afterwards, Mary and Luko happily go out shopping for lunch in a convenience store. Christina, I want to ask you something. Is Luko pervy act are you thinking about this time? Can't be too careful around the perv duo. We're not the perv duo, we're the pervy gentleman duo. Whatever. Seriously, whatever. Damn, I can't ask now. It's really annoying that no one remembers. I want to think about how Kurisu might react if I suddenly ask if Luko is a girl. Should wait until I get Luko alone and then check then. Considering his appearance hasn't changed at all, it's very likely the sex change failed. In that case, what did Luco's email change? It's just like the Mocha experiment. Result is different from what we expected. The real problem is we have no control. After I leave the lab, I head to the May Queen and Nan squared to think. Dara sits in front of me, waiting impatiently for Ferris to bring our order. Dara, what do you think about D-Mail? It's cool, but it's kind of lame at the same time. What's lame about it? I couldn't use it to win my Rhinette match against Ferris. Now that's a selfish reason. Our experiments have shown that D-Mail hasn't reached a reliable level of precision. True time machine must remove luck from the equation. Phone wave name subject change is useless unless we can somehow give sender more control. For starters, there's a problem of how I am the only one who can recognize the changes. Without my special power, we wouldn't even be able to check the results of the experiment. Ridiculous. Yeah, you would go through life without even ever knowing that anything had ever changed. Because nothing did. Even if you sent those messages back, that your consciousness didn't move from one world to the next with it. And that's the big change that happens. Pending. Although it was Luco's mistake. Cause of surprise, we wouldn't have been in a position to make that mistake if I hadn't asked him to buy a ticket in my stead. Why did I do that? It's as if Steingate guided the money away from my grasp. No, I needed to think positive. I don't understand what you're saying. You sure seem confident about it. So you want to cosplay as Warrior from Geography? Alright. She will work extra hard. Have something for the winter coma. I know you will be popular with the girls. I'm not sure how to feel about that. Wait, when did I say I cosplay? Did you email the wrong person? It's funny because I know what's changed. Someday we will include phone wave name subject change, so that it may be used to send things not only to the past, but also to the future. We will improve it, and we must improve it. That is the choice of Steins here. A time machine. Prisoner, when the hell did she come from? Damn you. Ferris eavesdropping is cowardly. What do you mean? Your voice is so loud, it echoes through the whole store, and yeah. What? No. Once again, I leak classified information because I read the future of mankind.
アイスコーヒーとアイスティーと
Here's your iced coffee and your iced tea. It's because of the secret technique that Ferris reigns supreme as the Make Queen's #1 maid. The iced coffee in the glass changes in from black to brown. Damn, she dragged me into her pace again. Thanks, Ferris, for pouring the secret technique on Daru. Thank you, Ferris. I'm sure to savor it. He vows evilly, such a polite man. Take a sip of my iced coffee. Its bitterness, its sweetness, it flows down my throat. When I look up, I see Vera standing next to me, her silver tray in front of her waist.
何か用事か
Do you need something?
続きは聞かせるにゃ
Want to hear the rest, Nian?
今日またダルにゃ面白そうなお話してたにゃタイムマシンがどうとかって
Kiyoma and daughter John are having a nice little chit chat. Nian, something about a time machine.
フェイリスとっても聞きたいにゃ
Ferris really wants to hear. She gives me the baby look and the upturned eyes, but I firmly reject her.
極秘事項だ
It's top secret, not for outsiders.
さっき店中に響き渡るぐらい大声で話して
And the whole big
どこ
mouth
になる
lets
にゃ
the whole store hear Nian.
だ
ダルにゃ
Tell Ferris Daru now.
欲しいにゃ
She's targeting Daru now. Yeah, of course she's targeting Daru. Daru can't resist her. Don't underestimate him, Ferris Nian Yan. Daru's my most trusted. Yeah. Oh. Okabe is a moron sometimes. Wizard class superior hacker. He won't be tricked into divulging classified information. We built an amazing time machine that can send emails to the past. I did the most of the work, of course. Now, this is one thing I don't understand about the Steins Gate game at all. Daru does not have a voice. There's a voice actor for him, but Daru does not have a voice. I don't know why. And he's broken. Women are scary.
それってつまりタイムマ
Is
シン
that
っ
a
てこと
time
にゃ
machine yet? I guess she could say that.
タイムマシンを作ったなんてすっごいにゃフェイリスはダルニャンの頭の良さにキュンキュンしそう
Wow,
だにゃ
you're awesome, Nyan. Your big brain makes my heart race, Nyan. Yeah, Eddie and I go on who our favorites are, and you're now looking why I love Varys so much. I mean, now I'm embarrassed. Teehee. Dumbass. And what's with that grin?
セイリスはタイムマシンに乗って時間旅行するのが
Your streams are going on a journey through time, Neon. I'll bring you along someday.
だる安請け合いするな
Tyra, don't make promises you can't keep.
That pair. Dara, don't make promises you can't keep.
ところで昔から疑問だったんやけど時間ってどんなものなのかね
You want to do that? Yep. Don't cover up Ferris's face. I want to move the chat over because the way they set this up is that it tends to lean to the right. By the way, it's been bugging me. What is time anyway, Nia? What?
よく時間を川に例えて過去から未来に向かって流れてるって
Time is often compared to a river, Nian, flowing from the past to the future.
でも本当にそうなのかにゃ
But is it really how it is? Yeah?
もし川の流れだとして
Time is a
過去
river.
と未来に挟まれた
Then where is the present?
どこにあるのかな
Is it a point?
それ
Is
は
it a
点
line?
なのか線なのか
Where does the present begin and end, Nia?
どこまで
Now that you mention it, I only have a vague concept of time. Never gave it any serious thought.
現在川の上に浮かぶ葉っぱ
Speak for yourself, Okabe.
それは過去から未来に流れるに沿って動く
The present is a leaf floating on a river. It moves, flowing along with the flow from past to the future.
そんじゃその葉っぱに全ての人間が乗ってるって
So we were riding on the leaf, Nian. When you die, you fall off.
ことに
Yeah,
なるの
そういうことだろ
you could say that all points upstream from the leaf
う下流が未来と定義できる
are the past, downstream is the future.
ふにゃ
Yeah.
その葉っぱは人間にとっての
But is the leaf only the present for humans, Nian?
というと
Meaning,
人間が時間に単位を作る
humans make the units to define and observe time. Which is how we know this leaf is the present.
例えば全宇宙全
But
て
if every living thing in the universe
現在を観測できる
went
存在がいな
extinct,
くなっちゃうと
nothing
思
would
うの
exist to observe the present. And
その場合どこが
in
現
that
在になる
case,
の
where would the present go, Nian? Wouldn't something like God or the will of the universe observe it?
じゃあもしその神様が四次元的存在だとしたら過去にも未来に
But
も
what
自
if
由に
God is a
動くこと
fourth
になるの
dimensional being who can freely move through time, Nian?
その神様の現在が基準になるならフェイリスたち
God
の
is the one who
現
decides
在が過去方向に行ったり
the
未来
present.
方向に行ったりしないとおかしい
Then
の
will
よ
our present move with him, Nian? This is hard.
つまり現在は
So what you're saying is the present is subjective to the observer.
と言っ
もしそうなら過去と
If we
未来
go
が
with that
一番一
assumption,
体
then
に
the
なっている
past and the future also depends on the observer, Nian.
もしタイムマシンでフェイリス
If
が
Ferris were to use a time machine to travel back 1 week, then Kiyoma and Dara's present
フェイリス
would
の現在は
become
一
Ferris'
瞬で
future.
出ちゃうのよ
Yeah. Guess that makes sense.
だとしたら
So
その
how
ズ
did
レは
that leaf model
葉っぱだ
reflect
とどうやって
the
表現する
differences, Nian? Neither Dara nor I has to answer to that. Perhaps no one has the answer. Just like the collapse of casualty thing that Kirisu mentioned. So now this is one of the things that this is one of the things that where the game like far surpasses the anime, and the anime is absolutely brilliant. But you know, and I won't say that. I won't say it isn't. But you know, this is where the point. Does that mean that time machines and time travel are impossible after all?
which turned jellified test subjects physically traveling as far back as 1921.
そもそも観測者の主観に委ねられるなら時計
Oh, so that's why Mocha. Now I get why Mocha didn't jellify, because Mocha wasn't part of the experiment. Mocha didn't actually physically move from the present to the past. What Mocha did was she just lived in the regular timeline. The jellification only happens with Kiyomo, with Okabe, and his transformation. And his transformation to the past. Okabe, there's something jellifying in him when he reads Steiner. So yeah.
楽しい時間は早く過ぎるし辛い時は時間が過ぎるのが遅く感じるにゃ。つまり主観だと時間の流れは変動しちゃうにゃ。
Fun times fly, hard times drag, Nyan. And in other words, the flow of time changes depending on your point of view, Nyan. Speaking of which, as you grow older, it feels like time starts to flow faster, doesn't it? Janet's Law.
とまあフェイリスはたまにそんなことを考えてるのにゃ。だから安易に時間を川の中
Everyone thinks about stuff sometimes,
違う
Nyan.
ような気がする
And
の
I
に。
think about might not be something as simple as a river, Nyan. And the more you think about it, the more complicated it gets. Strict definition of time, similar to the question, where is self? Is the one humanity's eternal questions. Countless renowned scholars have left that question unanswered. There's no way amateurs like us can answer it. There is one thing I can do. Nyanya? Fret not. Though the physics and philosophies may deny us our machine has made time travel possible. Am I correct, Daru? Yeah, that's right.
にゃー開き直
Yeah, looks like you guys have kicked reason to the curb, yeah.
でもダルニャンたちの作ったタイム
So
マシン
Ferris wants to use your time machine too, yeah? Can I
ダ
please?
メかにゃ。
Sure, I'll let you use it as much as you want, Ferris. Daru! Really, yeah? Then it's a promise, yeah?
勝手なことをほざくな。
Daru, don't decide things on your own. Ferris springs up with joy. Yeah, good. I'm glad not covered with the chat. Hugs it. Daru's Renton body. That's all it takes to make Daru look like he had died and gone to heaven. After killing some time at the May Queen, I leave Daru and head back to the lab. The only person there is Mayuri, and she's working on a costume.
Hi, Mary. You're like a housewife burning the midnight oil to bring in a little more money to the home.
土鍋って何？
Yeah? Midnight oil? What are you eating?
食べるの？
Ah, kids these days.
ちなみにね、まゆし
Besides, Mayushi doesn't charge for her costumes. Seems like she understood the rest of what I said. It was a joke anyway.
趣味は趣味のままがいいの。それにね、
Hobbies should just be hobbies, you know. It makes me happy to see someone wearing the costumes I made. Do you want to become a designer? Come to think about it, Mayuri has never talked about her future.
それは無理だよ。
No way, it's too hard. And what is your dream? My dream is to destroy the system and plunge the world into chaos.
まゆしは、とりあえず
Mayushi just wants to keep hanging out in the lab. What? You want to be a lab member forever? I appreciate your enthusiasm, but this lab has no interest in profit. You'll always be hurting for food.
ラボメン6人になったね。
You know, Okuren, we have 6 lab members now. Isn't it amazing? I actually never expected we'd grow this big. That's a sudden change in the topic. For some reason, she's puffing up her chest out in pride.
まゆし、人質になった甲斐があったかも。
It's all because Mayushi became your hostage.
断じていいなだ。我がラボに集った者たちは全員この俺の策略によりまん
No,
まとラボメンに
that has nothing to do with it. I tricked every last one of you into joining my with masterful manipulations. Mwahaha.
そういう言い方は良くないと思うの。
You shouldn't say things like that. Besides, you didn't trick me.
そうだ。
That's true. You came of your own violation. She joined the lab without ever asking. When she appeared in the doorway and offered to join, I thought she was a goddess sent from heaven.
ねえ、おかり。
Okay?
おかりは、これからもまゆしの人質
Can
に
Mayushi still be your hostage? Is that a joke or a serious question? I can't tell.
お前は人質のままでいたいのか？
Is that what you want? Well, Mayuri drops the costume in her hand, and then she smiles shyly. Maybe it is. I am... We are going to end it here.
なんというド M な息子。
And save. still on chapter 4. I forgot how many chapters this is. But, let's find somebody to raid. Skyheart is here. We should probably go say hi. Did we raid? I don't think we raided. Let's try that again.